Just carrying on with the live video, guys. Sorry for those of you that missed that. The camera didn't like being moved around too much whilst doing Facebook Live. So yeah, you get a good view up there. The magnitude of the glaciers here, absolutely stunning to ski around. Here you can see some areas people often get into. Wouldn't advise it. There's a lot of glaciers around, but you can see the tracks. You should be able to just see the tracks. And there's our cable car at the top we use. You can see there's quite a few cable cars they've got in operation. This one switches on tomorrow, which is when we were due to start our summer program. But yeah, this one kicks off. We're not kicking off, obviously, for a couple more weeks. I know Charlie at the Monrev he's opening on the 11th, and obviously we heard the good news yesterday that the UK is allowed to, that they're dropping the 14-day rule from the 4th of July. I think that was right, from what we heard. There's another huge glacier over there. I'm taking my time, guys, just letting you have a good look around. I know a lot of you that haven't skied before but appreciate seeing the glacier. It's in great condition there. Quite often the one I'm pointing the camera at, that was those tracks I was looking at last week. Quite often we see the Canadian team coming across and using that for their Super G skiers to train on. And yeah, this is it doesn't get much better than this, guys. Even in March or April, it looks really good. So what we're going to do today, as we said, we're just going to try and give you a few little pointers to think about, and also go over a few of the on-snow things that match up with our exercises that we've been doing over the course of the 12 weeks. So I'm just going to get myself together, and give me 2 minutes, but just admire the view. It's stunning up here at the moment. I was going to mention for an artist who does some skiing with us is Becky, Freeride Lines. Just been watching her, it's quite inspirational. I know a lot of us miss the mountains, and if you go and check her out on Instagram, Freeride White Lines, it's quite a cool thing to look at, and she's developing her artwork. So well done for what you're doing. I looked at it when I got a bit, missing of the snow the other week. And the other thing to check out, we're quite a big fan of Conrad Bartowski's work. He's obviously a British skiing icon, most successful, downhill skier in terms of his results, and he's done so well. Went to his gallery, and all of his stuff is online as well. So again, if you're missing the mountains and you want to get inspired, go and check his stuff out. So as we've said over the last few weeks, guys, we've had a lot of information going out about trying to get people's foundation and things working for them. And what we're going to look towards is, louder, as you say. So what we're going to look towards today is trying to get people having a look at the on-snow exercises that we do that kind of originate actually out of a lot of things we worked on with the different episodes. So let me just swing myself around so I'm in the sun for you, easy to view. One of the first things we talked about, it was on webinar 1, we looked at flex and how people don't always maintain the right amount of flex throughout all the joints. Usually quite a lot of our skiers, they don't have problems flexing at the waist. And that's kind of a given. If anything, they tend to flex too much and stick their bum out. We find a lot of the time when skiers flex as they go through turns, and whether it's in moguls, where they're retracting or extending through carve turns, a lot of flex whenever there's pressure put on the ski. Unless it's an experienced skier, it usually sort of goes way more through the knee. Your knee's always going to bend more than the ankle, but what we've always found with developing people's skiing is that we've needed to give the ankle a little bit of extra attention. So if you remember back to webinar 1, I mean, I can't believe that was actually early early April, may have even been end of March, I can't quite remember. But on that session, we did a lot of work looking at the ski boots, and we did a lot of work talking about the footbeds. I know Alex got involved, and some of the other guys, who, boot fitting guys like Colin in the UK, who were great, got involved and started chit-chatting in the group. I think we've covered that area, and we're not going to look at that base at the moment. But what we're going to take a look at now is some exercises or drills that might help you. So I know for a fact some of the indoor snow domes will be opening soon. A lot of the guys are working at the moment on the rehearsal of all their preparation. I know the guys at Hemel have been doing a brilliant job. We've been watching that, and we don't know yet when they're opening, but it will be soon. When you can get your skis back on and go and practice, and at the dry ski slopes as well as we were talking to the guys at Silksworth, many other slopes around the UK, it's soon going to be time to ski. So when you want to look at what those exercises have done for you and even test them, you can work on a really basic exercise. What we've done in the past, and what we tend to do usually on the morning of a ski course, and it pays dividend for how a ski course goes through the rest of the week, is we look at people's flex pattern, and we don't just look at it when they're skiing, we take it out to the side and give it a drill. And what you'll find in the drills is sort of an accelerated way to find out if someone can truly dominate and flex their ski boot. I have to be honest with you, most of the time on ski courses, when we go through this exercise, and Rob and Jordan watching this, Fee and the rest of the team, everyone will agree when you give it as an exercise, you think, oh, they're going to be able to do this. All it is jumping around and flexing in the boots. And by God, the amount of people that we give it to that struggle to just hop around 180 degrees, you'll be so surprised. And if you get to do this yourself when you go onto the dry slope or the indoor snow dome, again, that question, do I need to go to an indoor snow dome? I'll be bored after 2 runs. Absolutely not. If you've got exercises and drills to be working on that could develop foundation areas, fundamental areas of your skiing, these places are brilliant training centres to go to, just like a golf driving range would be for someone working on their swing. So I'm just going to show you that from webinar 1, linking it now to webinar 13, what we give people as the exercise. So it's basically just hopping. And if you haven't done this before, guys, think about just, hopping on the spot. And what you do is you get someone to first of all test the flex in their ski boot. So what I'm doing here, I'm flexing the boot. I'm lifting my downhill ski up in the air, and I'm isolating the uphill leg, okay? And just to test it, first of all, we get people to use their ski poles to help their balance, and very light little movements, stepping around. Usually here, people go back seat. I want to try and get it in people's minds that you need to land and work yourself through the boot. So that's the flex mechanism here. Body weight coming down through the middle of the skis, really activating the boot. Honestly, if you knew the amount of people that came on a ski course that couldn't even just do that movement, you'd be in shock. And I know Alex knows a lot about this, and we talked about it. It's the importance of finding, as we said in webinar 1, a professional boot fitter. We don't want people up on the mountain in ski boots that they can't bend or flex. Sometimes the boot's the right flex ratio for you, like a 110 or 100 or 90, but sometimes it just hasn't been set up right with the correct footbed to make things work. So that's something to bear in mind, guys. So when we progress this exercise, we get people to try it. So the difference is people can always usually do it on one leg, and the other leg doesn't always have the same amount of agility or flex or even strength in the leg, like the one-legged flex exercises. So just have a look at this here. I'll let the guys go past because they're quite loud. So now I'm going to take the exercise a little bit further and try and hop around on the ski. Walking back up, working the leg, testing the flex, and working my way around, hopping all the way around the turn. When you want to get a bit more dynamic with it, a bit more plyometric, try and see if you can do it in 2 hops. As simple as that looks, and to be honest, guys, so much of what we talked about over these webinars can almost seem too basic. But if anyone ever asks us what's the secret of how we get results with people on ski courses, it's really getting into the nitty-gritty of the foundation of someone skiing. And that's what makes a massive difference for it. So a simple exercise like that, I bet if you went to the snow centre at Hemel, or one of the indoor snow domes around the UK, or or the great, the dry ski slopes that people use, you could spend half an hour on that. You'd get a great aerobic workout, which I'm sure most people have been doing that anyway at home, but it's a great aerobic workout to warm you up for your skiing. And quite often, if you kicked your skiing off in the morning, just by doing a simple jumping exercise like that, you quite often find that you're warmed up so much more for skiing. You can move your joints more. The back seat feeling of skiing is quite often because the ankle joint doesn't flex as much as the knees. And if someone gets that woken up and actively works it, they generally have a better skiing day. That's what we found, and trust us, we worked through thousands and thousands of skiers with that. So a great exercise, really simple. Use your poles to do it. Taking it to the next level, the instructors, the level 3, level 4 guys we might be working on this, will do it with no poles, to really test their balance. Webinar number 2, guys. And by the way, feel free to ask questions on this because Rob's at the computer right now. He's got videos he'll post of these specific exercises as well. Webinar number 2, week 2. We talked about symmetry. And this one's going to be quite a tricky one because I've got to walk up there to show you the exercise. Do I need to speak louder? Okay. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to explain it because I'm going to be too far away for you to hear me. And when I go up here, I'm going to do a very simple ski exercise. We talked about getting symmetry in the legs. We've done a lot of work with that, switching on the muscles to work, making things become aware. Because quite often, even jumping side to side, people weren't quite aware where their knees were between the ball and socket joint and the foot. And this happens a huge amount again in skiing. We can spend so much time working with people trying to get a symmetrical or close to symmetrical stance. Quite often, just skiing with your hands on your knees gives you a great opportunity to really feel where your knees are at. They may be absolutely relaxed on one turn. You might find coming into a second turn, there's a little bit of tension in your inside leg. That's really, really common. But having your hands positioned on your knees here, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to ski down here with my hands on my knees. That really gives a bit of benefit, a bit of awareness, and you can use your hands like you would use that band. We saw the other week with the UK demos, the guys doing those jumping side to side. They got some great results putting the rubber around the hands. So give me a minute or two. I'm not going to rush up here because we're quite high. This is one of the highest glaciers in the Alps. Where we started the video this morning was 3,900 meters almost, or 3,800 and something. So it's quite high. But give me a second. I'm just going to go down, ski with my hands on my knees. You'll see it. I'm sure loads of you know this as an exercise, but I'm just going to try and make some quite skiddy, relaxed turns and see how it goes. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'd have preferred to give you a longer run doing that and show you a greater descent, skiing at speed and carving. I can't do it, but it's just to give you an idea that's how simple it is. Try that when you're going to your indoor snowdomes, or if you're away skiing this next month with us up here on the glacier. Just try it, get used to feeling it. As the speeds increase, it does become a bit easier, but you can also try doing it at low speeds and see how you can maneuver and work the legs. Quite often your job with the hands is going to be maneuvering the inside leg that might be a little bit lack. We looked at Jordan's carving last week. Do you remember how much flex and retraction he got into his inside leg? We need to train these legs at an early stage to be able to flex, to make way for that hip to move and that long outside leg to make a great carved turn. I'm going to show you another element of the webinars now, guys. And let's try and revert to webinar 3. Webinar 3 talked about leg steering range, rotation in the legs. It was either webinar 2 or webinar 3, but just check me on that. But with the rotation, it was to do with assessing your natural leg steering range. And if you remember on webinar 11, a few people asked to see what the content of the Academy courses was, and some of the things we work on. Now, we don't work on this all the time, and it's not the be-all and end-all, but we do spend a little bit of time working on seeing how people can steer their legs and rotate their skis, making turns down a corridor. You know, one day you're going to have to ski down a narrow slope, a steep pitch. In certain elements of that turn, you will be using your edges naturally, but we need to know people can rotate their legs without that big bulk of the hip rotating with them. Some really great results came in from that. Now, as you know from that test, we want to see people's legs have the ability to steer about 70 degrees one way and 70 degrees the other without the hip having to rotate, just to know that there's good natural steering range. And as we saw by the scores on the tour in the autumn, you know, we were getting scores anywhere between 20 and 45 degree ranges quite often. And we know that person is going to have hip rotation, whether they have the best instructor in the world or not. So I'm just going to show you that. We looked at Rob's demo the other week. We're going to show you just some low speed braquage turn. It is a little bit flat for it here, but I'll just give it a go anyway. And you can have a look. In the setup of it, guys, we showed you the other day, we were trying to stand across the hill with the hips facing the fall line. And as we looked on Rob's demo, he used the pole down beneath him. The hips came over the feet and the skis steered around beneath, but without the hips moving, okay? Again, a great exercise to try at the indoor snow domes. We'll try the other side, just to make sure they're even. The weight goes through the pole here, especially if you're on a steeper slope. My skis are on this edge. You can watch the ski move as I let the hips come over my feet. When the skis start to flatten, they're easier to steer. Coming around the turn, rotating and finishing. Now that in itself looks really, really basic. But I'd ask you guys to go and try it because, you know, we've been doing this for 20 years. That nearly every skier we put through this exercise struggles on one side, isn't naturally set, doesn't have natural symmetry. I'm going to try and link a few together on here, and then we'll just finish the session by looking at a couple of things that are very similar to bounding, some jump turns. But I'm going to go and try some linked pivoting, skidding turns, you can call them. We call them zero speed turns when they're static, and then we also do them on the move. So they're just a classic formula to try and help encourage leg steering. It isn't a given either. The skis won't just come round. You have to actively steer the legs. I'm going to go up, give it a go. I'll be back down in 2 seconds. Okay guys, so a little bit flat, so pivoting the skis, pivoting the skis, pivoting the skis, and rotating. So no restriction in the ball and socket joints, the legs just working freely and coming around for me. So that should give you some ideas of a few things to get going on. The last thing that's always worth a little bit of a blast or a pop, I can't do it too much because my right shoulder is still injured from surgery, but I'll put in a nice strong left hand pole plant for you. I'm just going to try a couple of jump turns. Now the jump turns will relate quite a lot to what we were doing with the bounding, and they're a great exercise. You know, if you ever go to a dry ski slope, indoor snow dome, try and test yourself by jumping side to side. You quite often feel that and find that you get tangled. The pole plant doesn't have the right rhythm. Your hands don't work enough for the pole plant. Your pole plant might not even be natural enough. You haven't worked on the pole plant for it. A lot of the time in jump turns, people have a weaker side to their pole plant. I want to make that very clear. And that weaker side gives you a weaker start. On these jump turns now, I'm gonna have a weaker side. My right hand pole plant isn't going to work because of my shoulder. But I'm going to go through and try and show you a strong left hand pole plant. What we do on this, we tend to try and watch for skiers and look out for their landing position. Quite often when they land with the thud, they go back seat. We want to try and make sure it's driving through the skis, taking off nice and lightly. a good rotation of the skis in the air. And there's a variety of ways you can land. You can either land on the ski and skid it through. You can land dynamically on an edge if you're practicing yourself and working for different types of dynamics in your skiing. So there's all sorts of varieties of jump turn, short swing, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to go up and have a go at a few of these, and we'll probably leave that with you guys as a last thing to think about. Give me 2 seconds. Quite knackered now, to walking at this altitude. So those jump turns, guys, they're really useful. Again, the gradient I'm doing it on, and for logistics, we're not going to try and ski and film because it'll switch off the Facebook Live. But doing that, up in your gradient, making sure you can get the pole plant in the right position will really change a lot of aspects of your game. It's a great exercise to do. Remember, when you go to these indoor snow domes, if ever you're watching this content, go and hire an instructor, get someone at the venues to talk you through it. The UK has some of the best instructors, and Ireland, you know, across Europe, across the world even, really highly qualified guys. If you want them to take you through a process of anything like this you're seeing and testing sort of elements of your technique, they will do that. Just to finish off, guys, I'm gonna ski the camera back down to the bottom, and give you guys a bit more of a view. It might switch off. If it does, I'll say goodbye now and thanks for watching. If it doesn't, enjoy the views. I'll try and ski quite slowly so you can see it and just see how that goes. But thanks a lot for tuning in. A couple more minutes left and I'll just I'll get this ski run going for you. Okay, so just to start the descent, Matterhorn's covered up in the snow. That's where I was this morning, up on the Zermatt side. Beautiful part of the glacier there. You probably saw us skiing up there last summer, and that's a lot of the main piste areas up there, which we've been working on. Here you can see the snow condition, the snow texture. I'm getting quite close to that, guys. It's really, really good grippy snow. Again, we all finished skiing in March. I know some people February, but this stuff's fantastic. And as you can see by the slopes, not many people. I just want to say, if you can hear, really big respect. Really big respect to Cervinia as a resort. Super, super safe security. Nobody taking any chances. Everybody in any sort of indoor space is wearing masks. So you need to know what it's like from a safety point of view. They're very, very conscious of it, which is great. Let's try and enjoy a few carved turns, guys. Beautiful snow. Look at that for a view, guys. So we're lucky enough to be going up a T-bar and be seeing that every day that we ski. Let's try some railing exercises down here. Just rolling the skis onto the edge. And just seeing what the skis can do. Well, hope you've enjoyed that. That was a first, trying to do a live video from a glacier, but the conditions are great. Why not? As you guys know, we kick off here later in July. Come up and join us. I mean, it's a great way to get back into skiing. There's so much open. There'll be moguls up here when we ski them, and just really wide piece for carving, as you can see up there. And yeah, if anyone's we're doing private lessons over the next few weeks up here, so we'll be backwards and forwards. But thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, thanks again for watching all the previous weeks as well, and enjoy the images. Have a good weekend.